evening and welcome to the programme tonight. Our extraordinary guest, Mr. John Ismay, head of the White Star Line Ltd. Now, if the name Ismay sounds familiar, it should. John's grandfather was none other than Joseph Bruce Ismay, the managing director for the White Star Line, most famous, or rather infamous, for the sinking of the Titanic. However, today we're talking about another maritime mystery that has recently been uncovered by John's company, the wreck of the HMT Olympic. John, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's been quite a year for the White Star Line Limited. You've made headlines with the discovery of the wreck of HMT Olympic, which of course was sister ship to Titanic and Gigantic. Would you take us through the moment your team was found her?
Certainly, it was an incredible experience. We've been conducting deep sea surveys for years, but this was a particular focus for us. The Gigantic, unlike the Titanic and Britannic, didn't meet its end in a way that had captured the public's attention for decades. She was serving as a troop transport ship during the First World War and tragically sank in November 1916. My team and I have always had an interest in looking for her. When we finally detected the wreck, it was an emotional moment, not just for me personally, but the entire crew.
I imagine it must have been especially for you, given your family's connection to the White Star Line. The sinking of the Olympic isn't as well known as the sister ship's disasters. Can you remind us of what happened back then in 1916?
Yes, of course. The HMT Olympic, His Majesty's transport, had been requisitioned by the British government during the war. She was transporting soldiers from Britain to the front lines, where she was struck by a German submarine, the U-86, who was a torpedo attack, and the ship sank quickly off the coast of northern Scotland. Unlike the Titanic, there was little time for an escape or rescue. Most of those on board went down with the ship.
A terrible loss of life, and so much of it seemed to have been forgotten by history, overshadowed by perhaps their most famous siblings. How difficult was it to locate the wreck?
Yeah, very difficult. The North Sea is treacherous at times, and the exact coordinates of the sink were never properly documented during wartime. The ship went down in cold, deep water, and over the years, the wreck settled into the seafloor, making detection even harder. We began our search about 2 years ago with some advanced sonar technology and underwater drones. We mapped a broad area near where we suspected she had gone down, but it took months of combing the seabed before we identified the remains. Surprisingly, she was in better condition than we anticipated, unlike the Titanic, which was split in half and was torn apart by the elements. The Olympic seems largely intact. The torpedo damage is visible, of course, and there's been a significant amount of decay to the arresting deep sea pressure, but she's unmistakably Olympic. Some of the iconic features of the ship were still visible, like parts of her hull and even a section of the bow.
And when did you locate her? What condition was the ship in?
Surprisingly, she was in better condition than we anticipated, unlike the Titanic, which was split in half and was torn apart by the elements. The Olympic seems largely intact. The torpedo damage is visible, of course, and there's been a significant amount of decay to the arresting deep sea pressure, but she's unmistakably Olympic. Some of the iconic features of the ship were still visible, like parts of her hull and even a section of the bow.
That's extraordinary. The wreck of Olympic has always been somewhat of a mystery. How does this discovery change our understanding of maritime history, and particularly with regard to White Star Line?
I think it offers an opportunity to reflect on the company's broader legacy. White Star Line is often only remembered for the Titanic, but there's so much more to its story. The Olympic was a symbol of industrial innovation and played an important role during the war. She carried thousands of troops, and discovering a wreck is a chance to honor the men who deserve honor and acknowledge their place in history.
Connection to the White Star Line and his involvement with Titanic.
That's an interesting question. My grandfather's role in the Titanic disaster has cast a long shadow over my family, and while he wasn't involved with the Olympics during a wartime service, the discovery does feel like closing a chapter. For me, it's less about redemption and more about preserving history. The White Star Line was responsible for so much of Britain's maritime heritage, and I feel a deep sense of duty to ensure that the full story is told.
Absolutely. And speaking of heritage, will there be any efforts to preserve or raise any sections of the wreck, or will it remain undisturbed from the ocean floor, like Titanic is in its current state?
At this point, we're focused on documenting the wreck as thoroughly as possible. We've captured a great deal of footage and data, which we plan to share with historians and researchers. Raising the wreck isn't practical, given its condition and depth. We believe the best way to honor the Olympic and also Parish River is to leave her where she rests as a memorial to the men who served aboard.
A respectful decision. Finally, John, what's next for the White Star Line Ltd? Will you continue to explore ocean depths for lost ships like other companies like the Q&R Line or the St. David's Steamship Company? Because I know you work with them quite well.
We will. There's still much to uncover, and our work on the Olympic has only reignited our passion for maritime archaeology. We're currently looking into other lesser-known ships lost during the wars, and who knows, there may be more discoveries to come.
Sounds like we'll be hearing more from you in the future. Thank you so much for joining us, John, and congratulations again on such a remarkable find. I wish your company and you all the best in future, and thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.